Agents, Jonathan, back again from the Netherwatch team. Let's take a closer look at the discovery stage. This is the first of two stages in your Netherwatch game. We are going to look a little closer at our operation, the agents that we're playing with, and some of their abilities, as well as getting started in the discovery stage. We're going to take a close look at both the dormant and manifest phases for the demon, and we're going to take a look to see how events unfold in the game. Okay, our operation is Ashwood Manor. New demonic activity has been reported in Ashwood Manor by the Department of Surveillance and Intelligence. They have collected sufficient distress calls about this house to bring attention to the Field Operations Department. It is unclear what demon might be residing in this location. Your mission is to enter Ashwood Manor and banish the demon. If unable, escape with as much information so the next team may continue it. We've already seen the front of this card, and that takes care of the setup. If we take a look at the back of this card, we'll see some rule changes on how this particular operation changes this game. So let's take a look at the operation rules on top. The first bullet we have is that we can't light the basement normally. So instead of using the light action, we actually have to use the interact action in order to use these interact cubes and to turn on the light in that way. The agents gain +1 sanity when taking the center action in a lit zone. So typically when you use the center action, you are going to gain 1 sanity. This allows you to gain 2. The next one is place 4 wild clues on this card when the game begins. When every zone on a floor is lit, you may gain and use that floor's wild clue. So normally, wild clues are in the clue pot or your supply. We're going to take all of those clues out and set them aside. And then we can use those clues only when we light all of the rooms on a floor. So we won't have access to those wild clues until then. Okay. Then we have Endless Corridor. Now this is a fate effect. The following fate effects are always active. When fate is 1, so that's including at the start of the game, you can use the stairs to move agents to a stairway exit of any floor. On fate of 5, however, agents may not move between the floors. So while fate is 5, we are stuck on whatever floor that we are currently on. Okay, then we have the escape objective. We're going to just skim this. We're not going to look at it just yet. This will come in handy at the end of our investigation when we decide that we cannot go up against the demon in the location. We may find that our only option is to escape, and that's where that comes into play. Finally, at the bottom of our card, we're going to see all of the zone interactions. So just to pick one at random, let's take a look at the dining room. So in the dining room, it's going to be on floor 1. Place or remove a lit cube in the dining room, kitchen, and foyer, and you don't remove the zone interaction cube after use. So we can go to that location, and by using the interact action, we can turn on multiple lights at one time, and that is going to be a action efficiency for us to do. Now remember, if we turn on all the lights on a floor, we're going to gain access to those wild clues, which are in our little dice tray here. So that will be a good thing for us to do. Okay, so we've looked at the operation card. I think we are ready to begin. Now, the discovery stage is the stage that we are collecting evidence for this demon. We need to figure out what is plaguing this location. Okay, at the start of the game, the demon is dormant. We are going to start our agents in the HQ, and we are going to choose one of our agents to go first. I'm going to give the active agent token to our Skeptic, and our Skeptic is going to begin using her actions. As part of the first action, I'm going to have her turn on her flashlight, which allows her to enter the lit base. So I'm going to place her standee inside of that, and that indicates that she now is carrying a light. That was a free action, so that hasn't cost us anything. Then I think we're going to move. Now, move costs 1 action, and it allows us to move 3 zones, and it allows us to reveal any clues or cover tokens in play. So I'm going to have her move 3 zones, 1 to the foyer, 2 to the kitchen, and 3 to the dining room. Okay. That will move the dormant action bead 1 position to the right. And then, let's see, what next? We are going to use the investigate action, and that will allow us to roll the sanity die to place a clue in this zone. So we are going to roll the sanity die, and that is a 0 result loss. She does not lose any sanity, and we get to place a clue in this zone. Now, whenever you place a clue, you get to see it right away as long as it's right in your zone with an agent. So we're going to flip that over, and that gives us a clue. Now, each clue is assigned 2 different traits. If we look at the clue, we can see that it is both special and it looks like physical and special. So we can use a certain type of equipment while using this clue in order to gain some information about the demon. Now, we have a thermal imager on the athlete, which provides us with use of environmental clues. And then we have the spirit box on the skeptic, which allows us to find some information on what is that? That's the weakness clues. Okay. Okay, so that is the next action. We have 1 more action to go, and I think we're going to use the interact action to turn on the lights in those areas. So I'm going to move the bead 1 more over to the right, and that will be the end of her turn, and we're going to turn on all the lights in those zones. Okay. Okay, and now we have 3 zones that are lit. So that was the end of the skeptic's turn. So what happens next is we will draw an event card. We're going to pick up our event sleeve. We're going to pick up the first card. We're going to insert into the sleeve and then flip that card over to read the effect. Okay, the air grows still and a faint whispering ceases. You are safe for now. The next active agent may not lose sanity from any game effect until the agent phase after theirs begins. That's pretty good. That and on fate of 3 or 4, that agent also moves 1 extra zone when they move. So it is not fate 3 or 4. It is currently fate 1. So the fate effect will not apply. But this is actually pretty good for our athlete. This is basically saying that the athlete's turn is not going to allow them to lose any sanity from an effect. So that's good. All right. So I'm going to place this card down, and I'm just going to prepare by placing the next card into the sleeve for our next one. And I'm going to set it down. Okay. Now the fate is at now 2 instead of 1. Okay, it's the athlete's turn. The athlete is going to start by moving. We are going to move 1 to the foyer, 2 into the great room, and we will turn on a light using a free action. So let's turn on a light here. And then I see a scavenge cube there too. So I think we're going to not use the rest of our movement at this moment. Because you can move up to 3, so we've moved 2. I'm going to stay where I am, and I'm going to use an interact action. So we have used 2 actions, first to move and 1 to use the interact, to draw the scavenge card. Okay, so we're going to remove the scavenge cube and draw the scavenged items card. And I see the veiled mirror. Okay, now this is a hand item only. which means if I want to keep this card, I will have to get rid of one of my other items because I can only carry something in my left hand or my right hand. This is not a pocket item, so let's see if this item is worth us carrying. If the demon is manifested and you have at least 3 sanity, lose 2 sanity to swap locations with the demon, then gain the target token. That sounds pretty good. I think that does sound amazing, but I'm going to drop this where it lays. So we have used 2 of the 4 dropped item slots. So I'm going to pick up the 3rd token, and I'm going to place that in the great room where we are. That 3 is going to represent the card that we've just drawn that we are going to drop into that zone. Okay, so I'm going to place the veiled mirror there. That means we can go back to this location to pick this item up if we would like to. And I don't think I'm going to drop anything else. I'm going to just drop that 1 item. You can drop as many items as you want into that slot, but you can only have up to 4 dropped items in zones per game. Each slot can have as many items as you'd like. Okay, so we have 1 action left. Do we want to move again? He has the shoulder lamp, which means if he starts his turn in a dim zone, he will not have to roll the sanity die, so that is good. Yeah, I think what we'll do is we're going to move again and just get into the next position to turn on some more lights. So we're going to move 2 more. 1, 2, and actually we'll use all 3 and go into the cigar room. Okay, so we have just used all of our athletes' actions, and now we will draw that event card. Okay, your vision shifts unnaturally. Wasn't that over there before? Place a scavenge cube and a clue in the zone of the agent with the least sanity, then move that agent 1 zone. Now, this has a fate effect that is a 3 or a 4. Fate is currently 2, so we do not experience the fate effect. But let's see who has the least sanity. We have the athlete with 8 and the skeptic with 7. The skeptic is going to place a scavenge cube and a clue in the zone of the agent with the least sanity, then move that agent 1 zone. Okay, so we're going to take this card out. Fate will now become 3. And these, again, are blue initial cards, which means the demon is not going to become manifested until we get into those red cards. All right, so let's place a scavenge cube and a clue in our zone. And the clue is automatically shown because she is in the zone when it lands. And then she has to move 1 zone. She's going to move to the kitchen. Now, I see the clue that was placed down is both green and blue. This is showing the symbols of an environmental and a behavioral clue. So our athlete has the thermal imager. That clue that was just revealed is going to be very handy for our athlete. Okay, so both of our agents have taken their turns. We can now start over again in the agent phase. We can change how our agents are going to take their turns. So instead of having the skeptic go first, again, I'm going to actually have the athlete go next. So first, let's go ahead and use a free action to turn on a light in the cigar room. Okay, then using one of our actions for the athlete, we are going to move. And we're going to turn on another light as part of the movement. And that extra light is going to cost us 1 action. Normally, you can only light using for free once per turn. So because we've already lit the first location, we're going to move into the next location, light that, and use an action to do so. So move is costing us 1, light is costing us another. We have 1 action left. So we've moved, lit, and we can continue moving up to 3. So 1, 2, 3. And let's look at the athlete's passive ability. Once per turn while moving, you may either move 1 extra zone or take another agent with you. They may be picked up or dropped off at any point during your movement. So this is a or situation. I can either move 1 extra or I can move an agent with me. In this case, I'm going to move 1 extra. I'm going to move into this dining room so that I'm in range of that clue. So we have 1 additional action left for our athlete. Let's go ahead and use that clue. Okay, so the athlete is going to use his last action to investigate. Discard a clue to use field equipment. Now you must have the field equipment in your inventory in order to use it. So he does have the thermal imager in his left hand. We are going to grab the thermal imager card, or the thermal imager device, and let's place that down here just so that we can kind of see it. Okay. Then I'm going to go into our demon deck, and I'm going to take out the pieces that we need. Let's take a look at the field guide on how to actually use this device. Okay. This device detects deviations in ambient temperature, highlighting zones of unnatural cold, often tied to otherworldly intrusion. To analyze these anomalies, the thermal imager maps temperature gradients in real time, isolating voids where heat has been unnaturally displaced. The system attempts to trace a continuous cold channel between its upper and lower sensor arrays. A successful lock confirms a persistent thermal breach, strong evidence of parasitic environmental influence consistent with cold spots phenomena. Okay, gathered equipment. Agents who possess the thermal imager retrieve the thermal imager component, that would be this, and then the 4 image cards. Those are the 4 transparent cards and the instructions for field use. Set the image cards aside under the thermal imager, taking care not to look at their symbols until they are drawn. For ease of use, I'm just going to keep them off to the side. It's a little bit difficult to put them underneath from this vantage. Okay, when the thermal imager is used, a new image card is drawn, revealing a portion of the thermal anomaly. These anomalies are layered one on top of each other to produce a full image. So, each use, draw 1 image card until you've drawn all 4. Okay. So we have 4. We have 4 of these inside the demon vault. I'm just going to grab one at random. And we're going to place it on top of the, it's kind of hard to see with the glare. Okay, we're going to place it on top of our device, and we can rotate it in any way that we would like. I think I'm going to rotate it in this direction. Maybe be hard to see on your screen, but it does connect the 2 circuits in the middle. So that's what we're going to do. Now, there is an optimal use for this device. Agents gain 1 additional image card each time this device is used in a cold zone. So if this zone had a cold cube in it, then we would be able to use 2 cards instead of 1. Okay? All right. And then we have to discard that clue. The discarded clue gets placed face down into the clue supply. And that is going to conclude our athlete's turn, which means we're going to draw the next card. A chill runs down your spine as an eerie silence falls. Discard 1 clue in the active agent's zone or an adjacent zone, then roll the sanity die and become frightened upon sanity loss. Now this also has a fate effect of 1 or 2. Our fate is currently 3, so we will not read the fate effect. But there is a clue in our zone, so we have to discard it, and then we have to roll the sanity die. This card is going to come out, and the new active fate will be 2. And let's roll that die. And he is going to lose 1 sanity. He goes down from 8 to 7. All right, so then we have the Skeptic has some actions left. What do we want the Skeptic to do here? I think the first thing the Skeptic is going to do is investigate. We need to get another clue on the board. So as part of her action, she will use 1 action to investigate, draw a random clue, and it gets flipped over right away. That's a behavioral and special, it looks like. We can't use it. We do not have the equipment to use that particular clue. So let's move on. She's going to now move as her second action, and that will move her here. As a free action, she is going to turn on the light in the utility room. Her movement has not ended, so she will move 1 more here into the garage. And then for her last action, she will turn on another light in the garage. Okay, and I see a interaction cube in the garage. Let's go ahead and take a look at the operation to see what that does. So the garage. This cube has no effect until the confrontation stage. If it is the confrontation stage, move the interaction cube to the great room. Okay, so this particular cube will not have an action until the confrontation stage. I believe that is going to set up our escape mechanic for this particular map once the confrontation stage begins. All right, so I think we are done. The Skeptic has used all of her actions. Let's read the next card. The air grows thick with unspoken malice, making it difficult. Oh, hang on. Before that happens, we have actually lit all of the rooms in this location, on this floor. Let's read that wild clue action again here. Okay. When every zone on a floor is lit, you may gain and use that floor's wild clue up to once per floor. So we are going to place a clue there. Okay. We don't have an action to use it, so we are just going to place it there. That means this particular clue can be used with any equipment. Definitely a good thing for us. Okay, now let's read that event card. The air grows thick with unspoken malice, making it difficult to breathe. The next active agent begins their turn with 1 last action. Place a dark cube in that agent's zone when they take the active agent token. And this also has a fate effect of 3 through 5. Our current fate is 2, so we will not read the fate effect. All right, so that is going to be that. 1 less action for the next agent, and we place a dark cube in their zone. So the new fate is 1, and because it's a new turn and all of the agents have their actions refreshed, we get to choose again who's going to go first. I think we're going to have our Skeptic go first again here. So we are going to start in a dark zone. Okay. And that is also going to remove her from the lit base. Okay, so as a free action, let's remove that dark cube and turn on the lights again. Silly demon. We want the lights on. Okay, so that is a free action. Then the next thing we're going to do is let's use that clue. So that is a wild clue. And we have the spirit box. The skeptic is carrying the spirit box, so we are going to use that wild clue with the spirit box. Going back to the codex, let's take a look at the spirit box page. The spirit box is a modified EVP device scanning for responses across disrupted frequency bands, interpreting interference as fragmented words. Entities sensitive to electrical currents often react strongly to the device, revealing their presence through distorted replies. Corrected parsed answers can indicate a fear or rejection of electronic fields. So, agents who possess the spirit box retrieve the spirit box sleeve and the inquiry card. This is our inquiry card. It is two-sided. And when you begin using this device, you're going to select one of the two sides to use. We will take our red reveal sleeve here, which will show what the response is. And let's read how to use this device. So, optimal usage. If the demon is manifested, or if you are in a lit zone. Hey, we just turned on the lights. You may choose to ask 2 questions instead of 1. Okay, so we get to choose 2 questions to ask. And each use, you're going to select one of the 5 questions shown on the inquiry card border. Slip the inquiry card into the spirit box until the chosen question is visible under the red reveal window. Okay, so let's go ahead and select let's go with are you trapped? If we get a response then that is legible, then we will have confirmed the demon has this trait. I am not seeing that. I believe that is gibberish, so we do not see a response there. Okay, so then let's rotate it to the right, and we're going to say, are you in pain? And again, if we see gibberish, we know that this demon is not answering just yet. Okay, so that is gibberish. 2 of the 5 answers are gibberish so far. We cannot read it. We are going to get rid of that clue. And because all of those lights are on and we've used the clue, that wild clue will go back into the supply. All right. And that is going to be the first action for the skeptic. Now, she only gets 1 additional action because of that last card. So I think what she's going to do is she is going to investigate, which will roll we're going to roll the sanity die, and we're going to place another clue in her zone. Ooh, she loses 2 sanity from that roll. So she goes down from 7 to 5 sanity. And then we're going to place a clue in her zone. And that is a physical and behavioral clue. Okay, we can't use that one. All right, so then we're going to move into the event card phase here. The demon is going to act. Something slithers past just out of sight, leaving you on edge. Place a clue in the zone of the agent with the least sanity. They may choose to roll the die to place another in an adjacent zone. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead. We're going to place a clue in her zone. And this one looks like it is a weakness and physical. Okay. And then we can roll the sanity die if we would like to place another clue in an adjacent zone. I think we will. So let's go ahead. That is a 0 sanity loss, so that was good for us. Okay, now this one also has a fate effect of a 2 or a 3. Our fate is currently 1, so we will not play the fate effect. We're going to take this card out, and now we'll move into the next phase. the athlete gets to go. Oh, before we do, we rolled the die. We get to place that extra. I see another environmental and physical. So the environmental clue will mean that our athlete will be able to use that thermal imager again. So let's do that. I think the first thing the athlete is going to do is move. So he's going to 1, 2. Then he will discard that clue and draw another thermal imager piece. And we will place it on the board here. I'll just leave it like that. And let's get rid of this. So that's 2 actions we've used. Then for the third action, we are locked on this floor. We cannot move floors. I was going to go down to the basement, but I don't think we can because fate of 5. So I think what he could do is, let's go ahead and place another clue. We're going to investigate, roll the sanity die, and that is a 0 loss, and we're going to place another clue. And that is the wild that we had unlocked previously. So that will be good. We can use that next turn. And then that is going to be the end of the athlete's turn. We will have the demon go. Okay, in the blink of an eye, you find yourself somewhere else, sending your mind reeling. Place a clue in the zone of the agent with the least sanity, then move that agent to the rift equal to fate, and they roll the sanity die. Now, on a fate of 4 or 5, we will not roll the sanity die. So she's not going to lose any sanity, but we are going to place a clue in her zone because she has 5 and the athlete has 7. We'll place another clue in this zone, and I see another green clue in this zone. So now our athlete can go into the garage to use that thermal imager again. Okay, move that agent to the rift equal to fate. Fate is 5, so we need to find the rift that says 5. That is down in the basement. Our skeptic has been moved, teleported to the boiler room, and they are unsure what is happening. Okay, we're going to take this card out. And if you'll notice, that is the last of our blue event cards, which means now we will begin to see the demon coming into this location. Again, we are playing on the easiest setting, so we would have 6 cards in the beginning here that will not summon the demon. Okay. All right. Okay, this is perfect. Moving into our next agent phase, we are going to have the athlete go first. We are going to move. Before we move, let's use that clue. We have a clue there, so we will use his first action, to discard that clue and get another draw of the thermal imager. And let's rotate that. Okay, so I'm seeing maybe if I rotate, I'm going to pull it over here because it's a little bit hard to do this. Off to the side. So the one on the bottom that I had placed first, I think I need to move it because I can create a connection now with this other one. Okay. Yeah, that's looking good. Let me move the middle one now. Okay, so here's what we have. I don't know if you guys can see that on there. I'll try and create a graphic or something to show you. But we are starting to see a pattern that might indicate that this demon has cold spots. Okay, using our next action, we're going to move one, and then our third action, we're going to take to investigate. So I'm going to move one, use this other clue here, discard it back to the supply, and we are going to draw the fourth and final thermal imager card. I'm just going to pick this up again. Let's take a look to see if we can make this match. Not going to happen. Nope. I cannot make a match with this particular entry. So because I cannot make the, let's see if I can put it up here. Because I cannot make the tubes match to the top and the bottom, I can't make them connect. This means that we have ensured that this demon does not have cold spots. Nice. All right, so I'm going to grab the trait matrix sheet and I'm going to mark that down. Okay, and just like that, we have isolated, we have removed from the contention, we have the Amit, the Leshy, the Obufo, Pontianak, the Nukkalevi, the Onryo, and the Rakshasa. It cannot be those demons. That leaves the Kamazats, the Vitala, the Azazel, the Banshee, and the Striga left. We've removed 7 demons by figuring out this piece of equipment. Wonderful. Okay, so that's the end of his turn. Let's see what the demon does. Okay, your hand trembles. The demon is near. The agent with the least items drops a hand item of their choice, then manifest the demon closest to that agent. Oh, no. Okay, so a couple things are going to happen here, you guys. The first thing is our agents are both carrying the same number of items. So for a tie, we get to choose which agent is affected. I'm going to say the athlete, because the athlete can get rid of his thermal imager. We no longer need it, so we are going to drop this item. Dropping the item is going to place it in that zone as the 4th item token. Okay, then manifest the demon closest to that agent. Okay, and if fate is 1 or 2, it is not. But if it were, we would place a cold cube in that agent's zone as well. Okay, we are in a manifestation zone. So closest to the agent is right on top of the agent. Let's see how that resolves. Okay, if the demon manifests in a zone with one or more agents, the outcome depends on the agent rank. And we are playing on Initiate, which is our green or easy setting. Therefore, all agents in that zone roll a sanity die, and then they move as a free action. So we are going to roll that die. I see 2. Our athlete is going to lose 2 sanity, and he gets moved out of the zone. He is running for the hills as the demon comes into play right on top of him. Okay, now this is going to change the game in a few ways. Now we are no longer in the dormant phase of the game. The demon is manifest. It is walking around the board and doing some terrible things to us. Definitely something that we do not want to be in range for him for them to do something to us. So we're going to take this event card out of the sleeve, and then we can see that the fate is now 3. And let's see what happens. The game changes in a significant way while the demon is manifested. It is terrorizing the location, and we are in jeopardy of losing our lives. Not only that, but the headquarters is inaccessible while the demon is on the board. So we can no longer go to the headquarters and grab items from the essential or headquarters decks. And that will be something that we're going to want to do. Because if we look at the demon trait matrix, we have crossed off environmental off of the list. But let's look a little closer at the demons that it leaves behind. So we still have the Kamazats, the Vitala, Azazel, the Banshee, or the Striga. And if we look at the traits, and I'm just going to kind of go across from left to right and look at some of the traits that we can use to identify the remaining demon. Now take a look at the electric aversion. We have been working on this from the standpoint of the spirit box, but keen-eyed investigators will note that we won't find any information by continuing to look at that field equipment. And that is because each of the remaining demons do not have that trait. So we will find that it is not a match, which won't give us any information. So our team is going to have to pivot. We're going to have to get a new piece of field equipment, which is only accessible in that Essentials deck, which is only accessible in headquarters. That means we have to wait until this demon is out of this location. We can move into the next step, get the proper equipment, and continue our investigation. There are a couple of ways to do this. Now, the demon will remain manifested while there are targets on the board. If we are to dash or go into a certain location, we might gain the target token, and the demon is going to advance toward whoever the target is. Now, we can also hide. I do see some cover tokens on the board. You'll see them here with the closed eye. In this particular board setup, all of those tokens were flipped over and revealed at the beginning of the game, which means all of those cover tokens are fair game for us to hide in. So we just so happen to have a hiding spot where the athlete is, probably hiding underneath a cabinet or something in the workshop. And then we have the Skeptic in the boiler room, and she is also right next to a hiding place. Now, if there are no targets on the board, if no one has the target token, and your agents are both hiding, then the demon will go dormant. So we can actually proactively try and make this demon leave the area. And so that might come in handy. The other thing to note about how the game changes while the demon is manifest is that we are no longer going to use the dormant actions beads on the left. They will stay where they are, but we won't be using those. Instead, we will be using the right track, the manifested action track. And that means we have one less action per agent while the demon is manifested. One other thing, we're going to remove the active agent token. That is going to come off and be set aside. The active agent token will be taken by the last agent who takes their actions before the demon phase. So let's talk about that. The game also has a slight rules change during manifestation. Instead of drawing an event card after each agent's turn, we will have each of our agents take their action and then the demon will go. So instead of having the athlete go and then draw an event, then the Skeptic and draw an event, we are having both of them go and then draw one event at the end. Okay, so I think we're ready to start this phase. Okay, so I think we're going to start with the athlete. The athlete is going to take his first action to move. And now if you'll notice, we actually have different actions available to us while we have a manifested demon on the board. We cannot use the normal movement, which is available on the dormant action side. That movement allows you to move 3. While the demon is manifested, this movement is slightly altered. We can only move up to 1 zone for 1 action instead of moving up to 3 zones. Okay, so we are going to spend 1 action to allow our agent to move 1 zone, and then we're going to use the other action to pick up the kitchen knife that is in the kitchen. We're going to place the dropped item token back on the board, back on the dropped item slot here. And then we're going to pick up the kitchen knife. Now this can be a pocket item or a hand item. So we will place it in his pocket. Don't run while you have a kitchen knife in your pocket. In fact, let's actually put that in his left hand. We can always transfer it to a pocket later. Maybe it has a sheath, right? Okay, let's be safe. One thing to note, we began our turn next to a manifested demon. That means we have to roll the sanity die. So let's go ahead and roll that sanity die for our agent, the athlete. And it's 2. He loses 2 sanity. He goes down to 3 sanity remaining. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and move on to our Skeptic. Skeptic is also beginning her turn in a dim zone, so she is also going to roll the sanity die. And she's a little bit luckier. She loses no sanity. Okay, so what do we want to do? Let's take a look at the zone interaction cube for the boiler room. So that allows us to place or remove a lit cube in this zone. Do not remove this zone's interaction cube after use. Okay, well, she could definitely do that. Why don't we use her first action to turn on the light in the boiler room. Then we will use her second action to move her into the basement entry. And there is a cover token that gives us available hiding space in this location. So we are going to also hide. Now, hide is a free action. So we have used both of her actions for manifested. Now we will have the demon go. Okay, at the end of our actions, the last agent who has acted will gain the active agent token. So we will give that back to the Skeptic, and now we'll read our event card. Okay, flipping this over to its manifested side, we are now dealing with a manifested demon. It has chosen you. There is no stopping now. The demon moves 1 zone toward the closest frightened agent. If there are none, the closest agent becomes frightened. Then that agent gains the target token at the beginning of the next agent phase. Ooh, okay, so our athlete is now frightened. We will take the frightened condition card and place it over his dossier portrait to indicate that he is frightened. Now, what happens when you're frightened? When you're frightened, you cannot center, which is an action only available during a dormant demon phase. But more importantly, it will cost a little bit more actions to investigate. So this is not something that is good to have for a long time. In order to get rid of this condition, we just have to gain some sanity. Okay, so there's several ways we can do that. And one of the ways is that he has a pulse monitor item in his right hand. And this item, let's take a look at it. It says, if you took less than 2 move actions this turn and did not dash, gain 1 sanity at the end of your turn. This effect is not activated if suffering breakdown. Okay, well, that's cool. So we will actually gain a little bit of our sanity back. In fact, this probably would have triggered a few times. Okay, no worries. Next, let's go and take a look at that card again. The demon moves 1 zone toward the closest agent. 1 zone is the utility room. And our athlete now gains the target token. So I will make sure that we show that. Our athlete is targeted at the beginning of the next agent phase. Okay, so let's take this card and place it back. Hey, check that out. We have Fate of 1. This means that we can use the stairway to go to any floor of the house. That is actually pretty darn good. So, let's go ahead and start the next turn. Okay, we will reset our action beads, the manifested tracker. So we're not going to be able to use the pulse monitor unless we want to just move one zone. We could just move one zone. We are carrying the kitchen knife, so I think it's safe for our athlete to move one zone to remove the frightened condition. So we will move one zone, which will trigger the pulse monitor to give us back 1 sanity. He goes up to 4 sanity, and we can remove our frightened condition. And then we are going... Oh, let's look at this card again. It has a fate effect of a 1 or 2 if you did not move or dash this turn. So we would have gained a little bit more if we didn't move at all. I think we'll just move the 1. Do we want to... You know what? I feel like our athlete is going to stand his ground. Let's see how it works. Instead of moving, we're going to keep him where he is, and we're going to make use of the fate effect that gives him back 3 sanity instead of 1, thus putting him up to 6 sanity. And then I think we're going to just have him stay here. I don't know if this might prove folly. We'll see. Okay, then we have our Skeptic. Now she's beginning her turn in a dim room. So she is going to roll the sanity die, and that is a 1 sanity loss for her. She goes down to 4 sanity remaining. I think we are going to discard the spirit box because she can no longer use it. So we will place that back into the essentials item deck. Essential items are never discarded, so we can just put that back into that deck here. Then I think she's going to skip her actions and just remain hidden. Maybe the one thing we'll do is turn on a light. So yeah, she can't remain hidden with the light on. So in fact, we will leave the light off and she will remain where she is. Okay, so because she is the last agent to go during the phase, she is going to gain the active agent token, and then we can move on to the next card. Okay, reading the manifested side. It leaves no trace of its passage as it hunts. The demon moves 2 zones toward the active agent. All right, do not place clues in departed zones. So, a couple things happen actually. One thing I did not mention previously was every time the demon leaves a zone, it will leave behind a clue. So when it left the garage, we should put a clue in that location. Next, we see that the demon is going to be moving. However, we have the athlete with the kitchen knife, and the athlete also has a unique ability. So let's take a look at this. So the kitchen knife, if the demon would enter your zone from an adjacent zone, you may roll the sanity die to prevent it. The demon remains in its current zone. We can't use this while frightened, so it's a good thing we removed our frightened condition. But it also has a fate effect of 1 or 2. The fate effect is with the 1, because it is fate of 1 currently, we would have to discard the knife after this use. Now, I'm not sure I like that idea, so let's take a look at the athlete's special ability. If the demon would enter your zone, you may roll the sanity die to immediately move up to 3 zones. Let's do that instead. I'm going to roll this die, and that is 1 sanity loss. We go down to 5 sanity for our athlete. we're going to move his unique ability to the spent box. We will no longer be able to use that ability again unless it becomes refreshed. And then that will immediately allow us to move up to 3 zones. So we're going to move 1, 2. Okay, so we just moved into the crate room. We're going to remove the lights, and we are now hiding. It says the demon moves 2 zones toward the active agent. Okay. Do not place clues in departed zones. So 1 and 2. The demon is now in the same room as our skeptic. Now our skeptic does not have the target token, and she is hiding. This means that she is not in jeopardy of dying. This simply means that the demon is not able to see her. Oh, and one other thing we see on the manifested side here, it has a fate effect of 1. Place a cold cube in the active agent's zone. Agents in that zone roll the sanity die. So we grab a cold cube, we're going to place that there, and then we're going to roll, and she loses another sanity. Okay, and then that is the end of that turn. And at the end of the demon phase, the target token is discarded, so that comes off of our athlete. Okay, because each of our agents are in a hiding position, we could force the demon to go dormant this turn. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to skip our actions. We cannot center, so we're not actually gaining any sanity back. We are both going to be rolling the sanity die at the beginning of the turn because we are starting in a dim or dark zone, and because the demon is on top of us. Oh, actually, our athlete has the shoulder lamp. So the shoulder lamp allows him to not roll the sanity die when beginning his turn in the dim zone. Our skeptic will, however, roll. And that is another 1 loss. She is down to 2 sanity remaining. Not a good thing. Okay, and then that would start the next demon phase. The demon has no target. The target token is not on an agent. Both of the agents that are in play are hiding. So the demon is going to go dormant. We will not read the next card. We are simply going to discard it. And look at that. It is Fate 5, which means we cannot move floors. Oof, okay. Well, that's all right. What's going to happen? First of all, our demon is no longer manifest. Okay. We are going to go back to the dormant phase where each of our athletes have dormant actions to use. Now, our athlete had previously gone and has no remaining actions, so it will be our skeptic's turn. She can't do much where she is. She's currently in the basement, but she could always turn on some lights. So I think that's what she's going to do. With 1 action, she's going to use the interact action to turn on the light in this location. Okay. Then she will move and move into the pantry. Now, let's take a look at the pantry interaction cube. Okay, this says, place a lit cube in this zone, then draw 2 cards from the scavenged items deck, keep 1, and place the other on top or bottom of the deck. So we are going to use our second action, actually our third action because we've moved, to turn on the light and draw 2 cards from the scavenged items deck. Okay, we have Wraith Rush Energy Drink. Discard when you gain, then you gain 1 sanity and may move as a free action, moving up to 1 extra zone. Do not regain sanity if you are in breakdown. That's a really good one. I think we're going to take this one. The other one that we drew was the old camcorder, and this just allows us to lose sanity and move one clue from any zone into your zone and reveal it if it's not already, and then choose one non-wild clue from the supply and place it face up in any zone. So we can use it for a couple of things. I think we're going to place that on the bottom of our scavenged items deck. Okay, so Wraith Rush is going to go into the Skeptic's second pocket. That is the end of the Skeptic's turn. So let's play a demon event card here. Okay, your heart races as the air cools for no discernible reason. Place a cold cube in the active agent's zone. We already have one. Agents in that zone roll the sanity, becoming frightened upon sanity loss. Ooh. Okay, so she's gonna... Oh, she loses 2. Okay, so she is now in breakdown. So breakdown is actually going to supersede the frightened condition. So she gains breakdown. Oh, not good. While she is in breakdown, she cannot hide, and she has to end her turn in headquarters to get rid of this condition. She has to get out of the basement. Okay, so that is going to be the end. Oh, hang on a minute. Actually, hang on a minute. We just rolled for her sanity loss, but we have a fate effect. The fate effect is a 4 or a 5, and our fate is number 5. Do not roll the sanity die. So the cold cube couldn't be placed because there's already one there, and nope, she's in the pantry. Sorry. We're going to place one in the pantry. Okay, so we place a cold cube in the pantry. And because it is Fate 5, she will not lose that extra sanity. Okay. She needs to get out of the basement. Okay. Then the card is going to get discarded. I'll get the next one prepped into the slot here. And then we have the athlete. The athlete will have his actions refreshed. And we need to get into headquarters. So he is going to move 1 and 2 to go into headquarters. And we are going to then use the essentials. And let's see, search the essentials item deck and gain any number of cards. So we're going to do that. Okay, so while we're here, I think I'm going to search for the animus detector. This will allow us to make use of the blue, that's the behavioral clues in both the kitchen and the garage. In doing so, we may find some clues about how this particular demon works. And I believe this is going to be the best one for us to use in order to figure out what demon we are going up against. The animus detector will tell us if it is both an aggressive or stalker. And if we look at what's left, the Camazotz has neither of those traits. The Vitala has both of those traits. The Azazel and the Banshee have one of the other two. And the Striga has both of those traits. So there's a good chance of us getting it down to the exact demon using this last piece of equipment. So I think that's what we're going to do. Let's grab the animus detector. Okay, and then we're going to grab a sheath for that knife and place it into our pocket, giving the athlete the ability to hold the animus detector. Or my bad, I grabbed the wrong one. I said animus detector. I meant the PCAD. The PCAD is the one that's going to give us the behavioral information. Okay, so he's carrying the PCAD. Okay, place this back here. Okay, and agents who end their turn in headquarters will regain 1 sanity. And his last action, I believe he's going to center. So and that is also going to allow him to regain 1 additional sanity. The athlete is up to 7 sanity. And that is the end of his turn. Let's see what the demon does. The world bends around you in a disorienting flash. The active agent moves 1 zone and rolls the sanity die, becoming frightened upon sanity loss. Then we have a fate effect that triggers on a 3 or a 4. Fate is currently 1. Okay, so the active agent moves 1 zone back into the foyer, and we roll the sanity die, and that's 2 sanity loss, and he becomes frightened. Okay, place the frightened condition on his card there. That is the end of that turn. So that is interesting. This is the second time one of our agents has moved or been moved by the demon. Once could have been a red herring in the generic event cards, but twice I think we might be dealing with a demon that has teleportation. So this might be a good time for us to examine our demon trait matrix and just see what demons possess teleportation on the demons that are left. So if we look, we have the Kamazats, the Vitala, and Azazel. All 3 of those demons have teleportation. So we can maybe deduce that if this teleportation effect isn't a part of our random generic event cards, we might be dealing with a demon with this trait. All right, let's move into the Skeptic's phase. So our Skeptic is not doing good. She is by herself in the basement. Thankfully, she's in the pantry, probably trying to get her breath back. She was almost pushed into breakdown last turn. So let's see what she does. First thing is she is in a lit zone. So let's use her flashlight to turn on her lit base. So I'm going to place her agent into the lit base as a free action. Next thing we're going to do, that doesn't cost us anything. Next thing we're going to do is she is going to move 1 into the entry, 2 into the pantry, and 3 into headquarters. So that is 1 move action. Then let's go ahead and center. She is going to center to increase her sanity by 1. That's her second action. And then her third action, let's go ahead and see if we can grab some essential cards. We're going to grab some essential cards from the essential deck. And again, we can take as many cards as we want. I think what we're going to do here is we're going to start to get some banishment ritual items and place them in the house. It's vitally important that we get those items and place them in the house so that we have a chance at banishing this demon later as the game develops. Let's go with Binding Chains and Warding Salt. Okay. Binding Chains and Warding Salt. Now, both of these are hand items, which means I'm going to have to get rid of the Kismet pendant that was in her left hand. And we're going to place the Warding Salt in her left hand and Binding Chains in her right hand. Okay, so that is going to be the end of her turn. She is ending her turn in headquarters, which means she is going to regain 1 sanity. So she is up to 4 sanity. Okay, then we are going to play the event card. A sudden nearby clatter sends your heart racing. You turn to see the demon is here. Remove 1 cover token closest to the agent with the most sanity. That would be the athlete. And the cover token closest to him is in the great room. We have to get rid of this hiding place. Oh no. Then manifest the demon in the rift closest to the agent. Oh no, the demon is manifesting again in the study. Oh, okay. Not good. Okay, that is the end of that card. Okay. Now, a couple of things happen. When the demon manifests, agents in headquarters move 1 zone. We are locked out of headquarters. This was really perfect timing for us because we needed to have some of those essential cards, some of those banishment relics. So it's a good thing that we were able to get them ahead of time. The demon has manifested. We are going to reset our manifested action tokens on our agents, and we can choose which of our agents is going to go first. Either one of them, both of them are starting their turn adjacent to the demon, so they will roll, whoever goes first will roll the sanity die. I think we are going to use the athlete's special ability here. So his passive ability is once per turn while moving, you may either move 1 extra zone or take 1 other agent in your zone with you. They may be picked up or dropped off at any point during your movement. So let's start with the athlete. The athlete is beginning his turn next to the demon. Gonna roll sanity. That is a 0 loss. He does not suffer any sanity loss. Then he's going to move as one of his actions. Again, he can only move 1 because now the demon is manifest. So he is going to move 1 and take the skeptic with him into the basement. Ooh, she doesn't like this location. She's feeling some trauma from her last encounter with the demon down in this space. But we're going to do this for a reason. Okay, so that was his first action, was to move. His second action, I think he will move again into the lower storage. And if you'll see, we have a cover token here that provides a hiding spot for both of our agents. So he is going to stay in lower storage in hiding. And then as a free action, he is going to also use that hiding place. So he is going to be hiding. Okay, so that is both of his actions. Next up, we have the skeptic. The skeptic, again, let's go ahead and just hide. We can prevent the demon from doing something because we're both in a hiding place. Okay, so she is going to hide, not use any of her other actions. And what this will do is end the agent's turn, and the demon will begin its turn. No one has the target token. So that means the demon is going to go dormant, taking him off of the board. Now we will get rid of this card. Oh, thankfully it is not Fate 5. Could you imagine if this was Fate 5? We would be locked in the basement. We would lose an entire turn. So this gambit was actually a fairly good one, I think, for us. Okay, so we are going to move on here. back to the agent phase. Now, both of our agents have dormant actions that have expired. So that means we can choose who is going to go first. I think what we're going to do is let's start with the athlete again, because we can make use of his free move ability one more time. So he is going to use a move action and move the Skeptic back up to the foyer. Because it is dormant, he can continue his movement. I think what he'll do is move one more into here, and that is going to be the kitchen. And so his second action will be to use the PCAD. So let's take a look at how the PCAD works. The PCAD, the Psychokinetic Aggression Detector. An advancement over older scrying implements, the PCAD blends arcane pattern recognition with kinetic sensor arrays to detect latent behavioral signatures. As the device calibrates, it reveals a sequence of glyphs tied to the entity's movement and intent. Matching known aggression or stalking markers confirms the presence of those traits with high reliability. So, agents who possess the PCAD retrieve the 5 PCAD dice, the PCAD reader, and 1 PCAD card at random. So let's grab the PCAD card from the demon box. There are 2 PCAD cards in each demon box, so we will just draw 1 at random. And we're going to place that card right on top of the PCAD reader. Now, if you'll notice, there are numbers on this card. I see 2 4s, I see a 2, and 2 3s. So let's grab the PCAD dice and continue reading. Place the PCAD reader card on top of the reader. Keep the card face up until all PCAD dice match the layout as described below. The PCAD dice will be placed on top of the card during use. Roll the unassigned PCAD dice. Agents may roll the sanity die to change a PCAD roll result to any desired number. We can do that up to once per turn. Assign any matching results to the PCAD key. For instance, if you roll a 5 and there is a 5 slot on the PCAD card, we're going to place that die in that slot. Results of the eye, or in this case for a prototype, 6, are wild and may be assigned to any open slot. When all numbered slots are covered, remove the PCAD dice and flip it over to reveal the analysis. And we will be looking for certain sigils on the back to alert us of this demon's traits. Okay, so let's roll these dice. Oh, before we do, let's talk about the optimal usage. Agents who are frightened or in breakdown may re-roll each PCAD die once. That's amazing because our athlete is actually frightened. So by being frightened or in breakdown, you can use this equipment in a much more accurate way. All right, let's roll the dice. Okay, so I see a 4. We're going to place the 4. Whoops, that was a 4. I'm going to place the 4 right on top of that one. I see no other. Whoop, I see a 6. A 6 can be anything. So we'll place the 6 on top of one of the 3s. We need a 4, a 3, and a 2. Because we're frightened, we can re-roll these other 3 dice. And I see another 3 and another 4. So here's the 3 and here's the 4. All we need is a result of a 2. And now we can figure this out. So let's take a look. Agents may roll a sanity die to change a PCAD roll result to any desired number up to once. That's worth it. We are going to roll the sanity die, and we can change that last roll to get exactly what we need. And we're going to lose sanity to change this die to a 2. It doesn't matter. There you go. A 2. And that's going to complete this PCAD card. Now we can take all the dice off. Wow, we've done it in one go. we're going to get rid of this glue. And let's flip over the card. Okay, here is our card. You can see the 3 different symbols on it. Let's see what that will reveal. So it looks like it does not have aggressive, and it does not have stalker. Neither of all 3 of these symbols are not a match. Sorry, all 3 of these symbols are not a match. So we have confirmed that this demon is neither aggressive or a stalker. What does that tell us? Okay, so that tells us it's got to be the Camazotz. And check it out. The Camazotz has teleport. Okay, we know what it is. That is amazing. I'm feeling tingles all over. Okay, we've got to get rid of this demon. Let's look at what happens next. Okay, things are heating up. The athlete has 1 additional action left, but I think we're going to not use it. His pulse monitor will trigger. He took less than 2 move actions this turn. He moved once. You can move multiple spaces in 1 move action. So that means he's going to gain 1 sanity at the end of his turn, which will also remove the frightened effect. So he is no longer frightened. Okay. Now we will draw an event card. Oh, and look at that. That's a 5. We know that the floors are, that the stairway is going to be closed coming up. Okay. The shadows seem to stretch like fingers to quench the light. If the active agent is in a lit zone, place a dark cube in their zone, and all agents in that zone roll the sanity die. And if fate is 1 through 3, it is. If no agent loses sanity, all agents gain 1 sanity. This effect may remove breakdown. Okay, so if the agent is in a lit zone, place a dark cube in their zone. So he is. Place a dark cube there. Okay. And all agents in that zone roll the sanity die. And that is 1 sanity loss. So unfortunately, he is going to lose 1, goes back down to 4, and this card is going to go back on top of this deck. And now we have a locked out. We cannot go to any other location. All right, I think this is perfect timing for our Skeptic to prepare for the confrontation stage. Let's go ahead. Now that we know what this demon is. It is the Camazotz. Let's check out its demonology page in the Codex Daemonum. Camazotz. The Death Bat is a terrifying deity associated with night, sacrifice, and dread. This monstrous figure combines the primal fury of a bat with supernatural cunning, stalking its prey in shadows. The Camazotz is a relentless predator, blending bestial savagery with an ethereal, elusive form. Its ability to teleport and shapeshift disorients agents, while its aversion to light. We just had the dark cube placed, you guys. Another hint in the event card deck. While its aversion to light drives it to snuff out illumination wherever it roams. Okay, so we need the Dread Summoning Circle. And we need Binding Chains, which our Skeptic has. She picked that up. Ritual Candles and the Seal of Anathema. So we picked up Warding Salt and Binding Chains in the HQ last turn. We're not going to need the Warding Salt. I didn't know which ones we would need. So that's just going to be extra. I think we are going to discard that card as a free action. And we are going to drop the Binding Chains in the foyer. So we are going to drop the binding chains in the foyer, placing them in the house. I'm going to place the dropped item token there to represent those binding chains. Then, as for her first action, she is going to move into headquarters while she still can. This is not a floor change. Thankfully, we were both in the first floor. Had she still been in the basement, she would not have been able to move because of those locked stairwells. Now that we're in the headquarters, we're going to grab, what was it, Malice? No, Dread. We need to grab the Dread summoning circle. Okay, that is, let's see, it's also a pocket item. This is a 1 or 2 agent game, so she can use her third pocket for this summoning circle. Then we're going to grab the Seal of Anathema and the Ritual Candles. Those are both hand items. Okay. Ah, that is wonderful. Okay, then I think she will move one more back into the foyer. And this is going to set up the final phase of our game. Confrontation with the Camazotz, a Mayan death bat. I'm excited. Okay, before we close out this video, you guys, I want to say thank you for watching. I want to say thank you for waiting. I know that this video has taken a little bit of time to come out. I appreciate you. We wanted to show the game in as great a detail as possible, and that includes showing all of the different components in play, how you play with them. So thanks again. Everyone from Explore It and Netherwatch, we all appreciate the community that we've all built together. You guys are amazing. Thanks again for watching, and let's tune in to part 3, where we hopefully banish the Camazotz. All right, till next time. Haha, just kidding. I was so excited, I forgot to do the demon phase, so I'm back, and so let's do that first. So we have used the Skeptic's first action, second action in headquarters, and third action to move her back to the foyer. So now it is the last part of this phase. That is the event phase, the demon's event phase. And what do we have? Points of interest suddenly disappear. The demon's arrival prevents further research. Remove all clues in the active agent's zone and adjacent zones, then manifest the demon in the rift closest to that agent. The demon is here. I spoke too soon. We may be in danger. All right, the demon has come back for more. It is still in the study, and we will see what happens next. So again, this is going to be the end of the video, and we end with a fate of 4. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.